This is the Josh Ennis Show.
Howdy, and welcome in to the Josh Ennis Show. How the hell is everybody today? Josh and Jilly and Luther, and we're just having a grand old time. How are you, Jilly?
I'm good. I forgot to water pick my teeth, though. It's annoying me.
I can see where that would be an issue. I can see where that would be troublesome for you. You know what? We're here. We're ready to go. Nice little radio show on 97.5 today. Although I didn't feel particularly well. I'm thinking it was somewhat of a hangover. Because we did some drinking this weekend.
There are beer cans on the nightstand.
Yeah, I know.
Why did you just bring beer to bed?
Because I was thirsty?
I was asleep. And then I wake up, I roll over, I'm like, you drinking a beer?
That was probably because I was thirsty. I ended up, we'll get into some details on this in a second. Oh, boy. But yes. Oh, it was an eventful Sunday.
I liked Sunday Fun Day. I'm glad we did it.
I know you do, Jilly. I know you do.
And the weather with the rain worked out really well for outdoor boozing.
It did. Now, before we get into anything, we have a lot to get into today, by the way.
Do we?
We do, actually. We got baseball stuff and NASCAR and the governor talk today in Texas. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Of course there's stuff going on. But anyway, I must share with you some other details. And those details would be about Dr. Busby and ToeGrips.com. That's right, kiddos. ToeGrips.com. Luther, by the way, takes the Dr. Busby supplement, the Encore Mobility.
Oh, you're supposed to make a new picture for him.
I will. I mean, but it promotes the website. I mean, ToeGrips.com is the website.
It is.
But I will. I was talking with Mr. Dr. Busby over the weekend, and he says that Gist Nation's coming out big here. Gist Nation has been buying up Encore Mobility. Encore Mobility is, of course, the supplement for dogs with joint pain, like Luther. See, he's a little stiff, right? So he takes the Encore Mobility supplement, which promotes hip and joint flexibility, restores mobility and comfort, and renews vigor and vitality. And I tell you, Luther's like a different puppy. He's like a different dog.
It works.
Now that he's been taking the Dr. Busby Encore Mobility, and your dog, I mean, I will hope that your dog, if your dog kind of struggles to get around a little bit, maybe struggling a little bit, limping around, whatever it may be, I'm hoping that ToeGrips.com and the Encore Mobility will help your dog out. It's an awesome product that contains green-lipped mussel and New Zealand deer velvet, which is a novel ingredient not found in the big-name joint supplements in the USA. It's awesome. And the website is awesome. Of course, Dr. Busby's blog. You can subscribe to Dr. Busby's blog, and she's got great anecdotes, great stories in there for all sorts of situations involving your dog. Just great stories because she's wonderful and great, and she's a wonderful vet. And, of course, they've got the do-it-yourself toenail clippers. They have it all. They have it all at ToeGrips.com. And if you mention Luther at checkout, Luther, you'll save 10%. You will save 10% on your total purchase. And if things don't work out for you, let's say that that your dog just doesn't respond to the Encore Mobility or the Toe Grips or whatever it may be, 30-day money-back guarantee. They've got great customer service. They're wonderful people. I love them. They're great. It is ToeGrips.com. And, of course, the great Dr. Busby. There you go. So we welcome everybody into the program today. Glad you're hanging out with us. So obviously there are a couple of big things going on today that we'll get into, but we've got NASCAR. I mean, who would have thought we'd be talking about NASCAR? I've never even watched a NASCAR race.
Me either.
So I couldn't even tell you. But I will tell you that that's in the news today. And, of course, the biggest thing right now is baseball, though. So the Players Association said no go.
Even though they've been saying, tell us when and where.
Yes.
They said, nah.
They said, we're out, no diggity, no doubt. So baseball still has the authority. The commissioner has an authority to tell them that they have to play.
That'll go over well.
But what'll end up happening is possibly some big name players sit out and it becomes a mess. Just let it die.
It's
Just
over.
end it.
It's over.
Just end it. It's over. Baseball, even if they play, I could argue that baseball has done just irreparable harm to the product right now. Like, I could make that argument. It'd be a sound, solid argument as well that baseball, even if the season were to happen at 50 games or 60 games and they have an extended playoff and blah, 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 the BS between the players and the owners got to a point. Like, here's the problem baseball really deals with. Somebody like me, right? We're sitting here watching this Jack Buck retrospective on MLB Network a few minutes ago. And I was also earlier today watching Game 5 of the 1985 NLCS, the Go Crazy folks Jack Buck home run call, right?
It's a big day for you.
It was huge. It's like they programmed the network
Yeah.
for me. Like, that's how big of a day it was for me, and I love it. And I'm a baseball guy. Growing up a baseball guy, I love the St. Louis Cardinals. I love baseball. I wanted to be a baseball broadcaster when I was a kid. Like, I love baseball. But now what you've done is you've taken people like me, people who are diehards, people who are passionate, and you've got people like me, baseball lifers, who are now saying, I really don't care if you play again. You got people like me saying, good riddance. You got people like me that are just kind of not even indifferent. Now it's almost actively rooting against baseball because you've gotten to the point that you've irked all of us so much that we don't even care if you play. And there's a big portion of us that just say, screw you. People are struggling. People are hurting financially. The country had been in lockdown. Some places like Texas are seeing Rona cases shoot up. Who knows, in a couple of weeks, maybe locked up again. People are struggling to find jobs. Restaurants are closing. Businesses are closing. And you've got guys who are millionaires fighting with other guys who are billionaires. And we just finally said, we don't care anymore. I guarantee you that if you polled people, you would find that more people are just like, whatever, baseball. You lost me. I'm not interested. You've pissed me off. Now you've chased me off. You'll find a lot more people saying that than, oh my God, we need baseball. Baseball, please go. Like, and this could kill baseball. We talk about how strikes usually hurt a league, right? Baseball saw it in 94. And while this isn't a strike, it's a money thing. And when it comes down to money in an era where people are struggling financially and people are scared and people are having to live off of, hoping to get stimulus checks, it's not good. Baseball has completely screwed itself, and these players are going to really, really wish they had seen it the owner's way, because the owners are going to be millionaires and billionaires anyway. But man, when those game checks stop rolling in, when you're a guy that was making, 40 million, 30 million, 25 million, 20, 10 million, and it's just not there anymore, and the fans aren't interested, and it's bad news for baseball. This is really, really bad. And even if they play, even if they find a way to play and certain guys sit out, the optics have already been so bad for baseball that they're just in bad shape.
And at this point, it's like, what's the point? Because it's already July for the most part. So if there's
Correct.
going to be a season, this thing's not going to get started till maybe the end of July.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep.
And they still want to finish the season by November with the playoffs and everything.
Yep.
So cool. Thanks for the 2.5 months of baseball. Like,
and then a long playoff.
cares?
And then who knows if the Rona comes back in November, October, and they shut it down again.
the second someone gets injured, it'll be like, because we didn't have enough time to prepare and we didn't have
Oh,
enough
my
time.
God.
Like, there's no winning in this situation. Someone's going to be pissed no matter what. Someone's going to get a case of the Rona. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yep.
So there's no point. Why even start
we already
it?
saw it. I mean, they've already shut down the team facilities due to the Rona.
Yeah, why even start it?
So there's no point. And if they would have at least canceled it based on the Rona, I think people could have respected it because there's a lot of fear of the Rona.
Yeah.
But when people see that you've got EPL going on and NASCAR is running today and maybe basketball happens and golf is happening, and they're seeing that some of the other sports are somewhat bouncing back or could potentially bounce back. And then you see baseball fighting over money, and whether it's true or not, that's how it's viewed. It's people fighting over money. It's a financial thing. It's rich people fighting with other rich people. And what you've got now is a really, really bad situation for baseball. And I don't know baseball, and I know we can talk about record revenues for baseball, but overall interest in baseball is not what it used to be. We know that. Even with a season, even if there were no Rona, the interest nationally in baseball is not what it used to be. It's chasing basketball in the NFL. And in some circles, who knows, maybe soccer, whatever. Now, with the season being over, maybe, and fighting over money, people have other things to do, man. Baseball doesn't hold people captive like it used to. There's 1,000 channels, and people are playing video games, and people are out at bars having a good time. People don't need baseball. They don't feel like they need baseball.
Well, especially if basketball and hockey do get going. If there's a baseball game on or an NBA playoff game, I'm probably going to go with the NBA playoff game.
Correct.
I'm certainly not going to pick baseball over hockey. So even if it plays, is it even happening? I wouldn't even really, I don't know. That's just me, but I just think there's going to be too much competition if these other leagues actually get going.
Yes.
Where baseball is going to be option
It's
D.
not good. And it sucks because, again, we're down there watching this 1985 Game 5, the Ozzie Smith go crazy home run. And, I'm a baseball guy. I'm a baseball junkie. I love it. It's my favorite sport. But even I sit here today, and I've gotten to the point that I hate this thing so much, and the players have annoyed me so much, and the owners have annoyed me so much, that I just don't care if baseball ever happens again.
Like we said, the whole tell us when and where. You guys look really stupid now. I don't need you flooding my Twitter timeline with, we just want to play. Tell us when and where. Obviously, you don't.
No, because they told you when and where.
You
and
look like
didn't.
a bunch of frauds.
And people are calling them out on that now. And they are frauds. And that's it. I mean, they've lost people. They are losing. They have lost, and they are losing people.
I think my dad's still holding out hope, though.
Your dad is depressed.
I know.
Let me see. I
He
sent
is.
your dad a text yesterday. If there's one person
He
who
wants
is,
his Cubs.
if there is one person who is legitimately upset,
Yes, it's him.
it is your dad.
Yep.
Because I sent him a Father's Day message, said, hey, what's going on?
You also sent Bobo a Father's Day message.
I did. But let me see what your dad said in return. Hold on. I said, I'll explain more of my drunkenness in a
You
few
on a
minutes.
roll.
There's I was texting with about 14 people last night. So I was drinking because I was texting with a lot of people. But one of them was your dad. And I said, Happy Father's Day, go Cards, assuming baseball ever happens again. Thanks, Josh. 2020 may become a no baseball year, to which I said, yep, and these players and owners are dopes. In all caps, your dad says, agreed. And it makes it hard to root for any of them. To which he says, baseball may never get a lot of fans back after this. I agree. It's a bad spot. And he said he's really sad.
Yes.
So your dad, not happy right now
Nope.
with what's going on.
He didn't know what to do on Father's Day. He's like, well, there's no baseball to watch. I don't know what to do.
I mean, his life felt like it was empty.
And
there
they're
was an
still-
emptiness for your dad.
and they're in Chicago, so they're still not in everything open like we are.
Yeah.
And they're in the highly vulnerable category because my dad is 70.
And he's had different operations,
Yes.
right?
So, they're being cautious, but now at this point, he's just like, screw it. I don't care.
Yep.
Take me.
Take me.
There's no
I don't
baseball.
need this shit anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I feel bad for your dad.
He may be the one that really is holding out hope for baseball.
Yep. He's like, I gotta have it. But yeah, it's not good.
I mean, he
And
told me the other day he was watching the J.J. Watt tag show because it was the only thing that kind of resembled a sport.
he's like, your dad is really, really
Yeah.
depressed about it. He's not happy. So last night, so everybody who watches the show on Saturdays knows that we were doing some good old-fashioned boozing on Saturday after the Trump show was over.
That just kind of ended. I went downstairs. You said, go get more beer. I was like, all right. And then you were downstairs, and I'm like, okay.
Well, Andy kept sending me text messages.
Me too.
And Andy, he just kept. I don't think we're going to invite Andy to the Saturday night shows anymore. Because all Andy was doing the entire time we were on there is, you guys are drunk. You got to end this. This must stop, right? And I'm like, Andy, that's what people show up for.
No, he was literally like, you're slurring. stop. Stop.
And he was sending
You
me
are
messages.
slurring.
He was saying, you need to stop this. And I'm
And
like,
then I get in my head, I'm like, oh God, like, what am I, like, how bad does this sound? Like, what? And then it's like, oh God, now I'm like critiquing myself, but I'm drunk. And it's like, I don't want to do
and
this.
then I went downstairs and Jilly was just like upset about it. And I was like, listen, that's Andy. That's what Andy does.
Well,
That
I
is
know
what
that's
Andy does.
Andy.
And I was like, I don't think we can invite Andy to the Saturday night parties anymore.
Because, especially when you're drinking, then you're overanalyzing everything. So in my
Yes.
mind, I'm like, oh God, like, how bad was this? Like,
We cannot invite Andy. I love Andy. He's one of
I
my
do
favorite
too. I
people.
think Andy's
But I
great.
think Andy looks at Twitch as if it's, network radio, when in reality, all the people were just watching the show on Saturday because they wanted to get hammered with us. So, as you saw, we were
I
good
actually thought Saturday was one of our more tame drinking nights, to
It
be honest
was.
with you.
It was. Part of the problem was the last 2 beers I drank were just gross.
Yeah.
The one that Parish Brewing one was one of the nastiest beers I've ever consumed.
And we usually love Parish.
I know, but
not-
that one was a letdown. I'm glad it's a seasonal because it was not good. But so we obviously had a good time Saturday. So Sunday rolls around, and I'm supposed to go meet Joe Kraus, of course, who is associated with the Tony Bruno Show and others. And we were talking about, potentially finding a radio home for the Josh Ennis Show and all that. And it was me, you. Joe didn't hang out all that long. He was there, but we had our conversation and he
Yep.
left. And I think he flew back to Philadelphia today. And Meltzer showed up.
Mhm. And
So-
Luther.
And Luther was there. And Luther had a great time at Little Woodrow's. And he was all over their Instagram. He's a big celebrity, this Luther.
He loves it.
So we're sitting there drinking beer. And as tends to be the case with me, I start drinking these 7%ers, especially out of a plastic cup.
Yeah, you love
It's a
plastic
different
cups.
game for me. When I'm drinking out of like a Solo cup or a clear plastic cup, it's a game changer. Like I drink it in 2 gulps to the point that the waitress was like, you drink really fast. I'm
She
like,
was
yes.
so nice, too. I hope you tipped her well.
I hope I did too, because I don't remember. Because like I just start chugging these beers, and then that's when I start texting people. I start texting more and more and more. The more I drink, the more the number of people I text goes up.
You
So-
texted Lance Berkman.
yes, I did. But that
Because
came
you-
later in the day. That came later in the
Wait,
day.
I guess we should start with the fact that I almost didn't get into the bar.
Correct, because Jilly had her temperature taken outside, and it was over 100.
It was 100.2. It's the little thing they just point at your head and then boom.
Yep.
But we had also walked from our house, and
Yeah.
it was really hot at the time because the rain hadn't come yet. So I'm like, okay, I don't have a fever. I would feel like shit if I had a fever.
Yes.
So there's no way. So I'm standing there, he's like, we'll just sit under the tent and let the fan blow and see if it cools down. Still 100.2, still 100.2. Then he's like, okay, well, let me see, you can take a temperature on your wrist, I guess.
Yeah.
So he says, okay, let me see the wrist. He does the wrist. It's 97.3.
And
That's
today,
a big difference.
it is, and your temperature today was like 96
98.6.
something.
It was perfect.
So, but anyway, so you didn't. It took a while to even let them get
They
you
had
in.
to get managerial approval to let me in because they're supposed to only do readings from the head.
Yes.
But if I was sick, obviously, my wrist reading would have not been 97.3.
Yeah. So
So it started with that.
they eventually let you in there. Then we start drinking, and Meltzer has a couple of beers, and then walks home. And
Luther was playing in the, they have like a
a
dog
pool. Yeah, he was having a good time. Luther loves the bar. So then we walk home, and
And we went to Buffalo Wild
well, we
Wings
did, but that's the
first.
part that doesn't really matter. So we go home, and I guess I fell.
You did.
But it wasn't a drunk fall, right? Like I don't fall because I'm drunk.
It
No, I don't fall due to. I don't know that I've ever fallen due to
It
being drunk.
probably contributed to this.
No, because like again, a lot of times I just trip over whether it be a root, a tree root, or a curb. I do that sometimes. So I guess I fell yesterday.
Yeah, you did.
And I say I guess I fell because I woke up today and my body really hurt. And I'm in the shower and I start feeling this burning sensation on my knee. Like, why does my knee burn? I look down and it's all scraped up and I'm like, the hell happened last night? I walk into the bedroom. I say, Jilly, did I fall last night? He goes, oh, yeah, you fell over the curb. And then you just started laughing hysterically
rolling
about
around in
the
the
fact that you
dirt.
just tripped over the curb.
Yeah.
So anyway, rewind though.
At least you didn't fall in Luther.
I don't remember eating dinner, which is unfortunate because it was, some Buffalo Wild Wings. I was looking forward to it. Don't remember it. But somehow along the way, I sobered up enough to start rewatching the Maguire Sosa documentary.
Mm-hmm.
You fell asleep, and for whatever reason, I decided to start drinking again. So I bring like 4 beers up to the bedroom and just start drinking Shiner Light Blondes while watching this.
And before that is when you were watching the Cardinals Astros. And then you
Correct.
see Lance Berkman on TV, and you're like, I got to ask Jim for Lance Berkman's number.
I've never texted Lance Berkman ever. Ever. But I'm like, I'm just that level of drunk. I'm that level of drunk where I'm going to text a guy who I've been watching since I was a kid. So I text Lance Berkman.
What does this conversation look like?
Let's see what my conversation with Lance Berkman looked like. Here we go. It was a pretty
You texted for a long time.
It was mostly me. But I said, hey, it's Josh Ennis. Just watched you hit the Game 5 homer. To which he says,
like, who sends that? hey, bud.
Hey, bub. To which he says, soon to be forgotten. Where are you now? You good? I said, I didn't even notice that part of it. I didn't even say, like, yeah, I'm good. I was like, no doubt. It's funny. Pujols is famous for Game 5, and you are famous for Game 6 in 2011. If not for your hit in Game 6, you never win a ring. He says, probably so. And then, of course, I took a screenshot. I took a picture of somebody holding up a Fat Elvis sign that says, we heart Fat Elvis. This was in 2005. I said, holy shit, John Mabry was on this Cardinals team. As a Cardinals fan, the Edmonds Game 6 homer in 04 is my favorite moment, to which Lance says, brutal. But your base hit in Game 6 was just as big.
You're just like rambling.
And he goes, not quite as dramatic. And then I just scroll down to the time about talking about a conversation with Terry or whatever. And then I said, it's amazing the Cardinals won this game. And he says, don't remind me. And it was just like a stupid, it's nothing but baseball. To which he did say Albert is the best hitter in the history of the game.
I like that he even asked, like, where you are, like, what you're doing with your life, and you just ignored that.
I know. I didn't. Like, again, I was hammered. So I'm sitting here, like, texting. So I text Lance Berkman. Then I start texting the program director of KMOX in St. Louis. And he responds. We're having a conversation. He's a friend of mine. So I'm texting with him. I'm like, I'd really like to be on KMOX one day. It's my dream to at least do that one time, man. And we're talking about that. Then before you know it, I'm texting Sean Salisbury. Then I'm texting John Cassio. Then I'm texting Matt Moscona. Then I'm texting my mom. Then I'm texting whoever this number is. Oh, Bobo. Then I'm texting Andy. I'm texting my agent. I'm texting my former boss. I am a drunk texter. Fortunately, I don't sit around and, I don't do offensive stuff when I text people. It just kind of loosens me up enough to have conversations. Like, I would not, like, ordinarily I'm not texting Lance Berkman, but I'm like, I'm just drunk enough to do it tonight. And then at some point I drank these beers and passed out, and then I woke up with my body in pain.
It was a Sunday. It was a nice little Sunday fun day. I liked it.
Yes. It was a bizarre
But now
night.
I'm like terrified to go to the bar because I'm like afraid I'm going to fail the temperature check again.
But maybe. I mean, but you obviously don't have a high temperature.
I don't. But like it's embarrassing when you're just sitting there.
Oh,
like,
I know. I was embarrassed. I mean, listen, I'm sure it's more embarrassing for you.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there and I'm like, Jilly, what are you doing? I failed the test. I'm like, what test? The temperature test. Like, jeez.
And at that point, I was like, well, if they're not letting me in, I'm walking home alone because there's no way Luther's walking home with me. He's staying at the bar.
And I have to meet with Joe Kraus to talk about potential radio stuff. Did you text Nails? I didn't text Nails. Out of all the people I texted, you would have thought I would have been texting Nails.
Because Nails' number is up here on the burner phone.
That's true. I don't have his number on my cell phone.
Yeah. Maybe you should put it in your phone for next time.
And then I woke up this morning feeling like Nick Nolte at the beginning of North Dallas 40.
See, I woke up, I was so congested last night, which was weird.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like I'm sick, but I'm not. I don't have a fever. I checked again this morning.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know if it was like allergies or what it was, but oh my God, I could not breathe.
Did you text Clanton? No, I refrained from that. But everybody else I texted, if you and I have a decent relationship, you got a text last night. And not only that, I started discovering that I was posting on people's Facebook pictures too.
Oh, were you?
So someone would post a picture with their dad, and I'm like, God, your dad's a good person. Like that type of dumb shit. Like I wake up and and then somebody mentioned me on on Instagram because some guy was making fun of people who sell it, like say that they're dog dads on Father's Day.
Yeah.
And I responded something like, I don't give two fucks if someone judges me for this. And the guy who it was evidently has like 60,000 followers.
Oh.
And this guy, they all just start shitting on me. Like, what, are you triggered? No, I'm not triggered. I'm hammered. And I also it doesn't change the fact that I don't give a shit that you judge me for being a...
You also posted the picture of you and Luther at the bar twice.
Okay.
And it wasn't on accident because it was like an hour later. So obviously you had forgot that you had posted it.
Yes.
And then posted it again with a different different caption.
It was an eventful day. And it was really all over the course of like 5 hours, give or take.
Yeah, because we got there probably about 3.
And I completely lost track
We
of
left
whatever
at
time
7
it
because
was.
it was right when they were shutting down the dog pool.
Oh, God.
And then we walked over to Buffalo Wild Wings, which I managed to order online, which is good for me. Walked and I got that, and then we walked home. You fell on the curb,
Yeah.
laughed, and rolled around as people stared.
We had a debate on the show today of whether or not it's what's more acceptable for a single mom to celebrate Father's Day as if she's a father, or for a dog dad to celebrate Father's Day. And dog dad slightly won in an unscientific poll, like 18-16.
Well, I would say so, because, I mean, there's still
Yeah,
Mother's
women-
Day.
That's my problem. Like, you get these single moms and they want to try to glom on to Father's Day. This day is not for you, single mom. You are mom. You are in no way dad. You are mom. So you get Mother's Day, and you should be happy with that.
I'm surprised we don't have to cancel, like, Father's Day and Mother's Day, because, some people just have 2 fathers, or some people have 2 mothers.
But I would assume that they would cancel Father's Day long before they would cancel Mother's Day. Right? Because
What if you
like
have 2
fathers,
dads?
that does because men are toxic.
My 2 dads. She can't celebrate Mother's Day. Not fair. It's problematic.
But I'm fairly certain
What it
her
is.
mom died.
Problematic.
Isn't that the story that the mom died? Or did she disappear?
Problematic.
I forgot how things went on My 2 Dads.
Point is, she's got 2 dads. Can't celebrate Mother's Day.
That's true. Can't celebrate anything. Changing names of stadiums and tearing down statues, and now you don't get Father's Day. It'll be like just toxic
It just has to
masculinity
be
day.
like Parents' Day now or something. They'll just have to combine the 2.
Yep, you get one day. And you get to, and for men, we just celebrate how terrible you are and your toxic masculinity.
Well, that's white men.
Yes, only like white men are not allowed to celebrate Father's Day because they exist to be toxic. So it can be celebrated, but white men do not get to celebrate it. Did Jilly drop a "You're not the father of anything"? That's a classic one. I forgot all about that one. Yeah, my drunk ass. You're not the mother of anything. That's a strong callback there, my
Yep.
friend.
That's when you made me cry.
Yep, but I didn't cry about this. I don't need to. By the way, the Just Nation t-shirts, I've seen that some people have already gotten theirs. I believe they sent out the last of them today, but you can still order a Just Nation t-shirt. Just go to the website or somebody post the link in here and you'll be good to go. All right, before we get into nooses, Jilly, who do I need to tell them about?
Prime One Consulting.
Prime One Consulting. I believe maybe Jason will be like, because I think we confirmed with Gamma on Saturday that we're having just like a giant sponsor get together on Wednesday for steak night, I guess.
If I can get into the bar.
If Jilly can get into the bar, we're going to have a sponsor get together over at Little Woodrow's in Midtown. So if, you pop out and...
I believe we set it up for 9 o'clock on Wednesday. What if no one shows up? It's just us. How embarrassing.
What do you mean?
Like, what if, Gama's just kidding?
Wouldn't that just be
And he didn't invite anybody else.
including himself?
And it's just you and me,
I don't think.
Luther's like, I don't care. I'm going.
I just want to go to the bar. But Prime One Consulting, you need to get your home checked for mold. If you're buying or selling a property, if you're moving into a rental property, if you have frequent sinus headaches or sinus issues, immune-compromising illnesses, or if you've had recent water damage to your property, well, you need to get a mold inspection done. And I can tell you this, kiddos, that nobody does it better than Jason and the folks over at Prime One Consulting. They come in and they go through this 8-step process. They collect air and they swab or tape lift samples of it. They have, they take a humidity and moisture reading in the home. They do a little visual inspection in there as well. I mean, they do it all. Then they compare your air in the house to the air outside. And listen, like, you'd be amazed by how bad mold can really make you feel and how bad it can be for your home. So, Prime One Consulting is the best, and you'll feel much better when you get the air quality changed for the better in your home. So, if you want to have quality air, then you need to contact my friend Jason over at Prime One Consulting. That's Prime, the numeral one consulting.com. The number is 281-545-5005, 281-545-5005, or Prime, the numeral one, Prime One Consulting.com. Get the quality air, and if you mention the Josh Ennis Show, $50 off. $50 off for good, clean, healthy air in your home with Prime One Consulting. All right, what's next?
Concrete chemistry.
Concrete chemistry. Get that concrete chemistry so you can kind of see what we're dealing with here. Let's see. Get that logo up there for you. Nope, that's not it. Nope, there it is. All right, so our friends at Concrete Chemistry, they're in the business of shining up your concrete and making it look all nice like for your stores, your hotels, and your warehouses, your garages. They can do it all for you at Concrete Chemistry. So I urge you to check them out if you can use them. Here's what you need to do. You need to contact our friend Eric, who is obviously a big supporter of GIS, and he's already seen some support from members of GIS Nation. And you can have this done in Philly and Houston. They design and install resinous and polished concrete floor systems for commercial, industrial, and institutional applications. And in response to the Rona, they're offering virtual job site walks and virtual project estimates via Google Duo. All right, so you can give them a call, 713-497-4701, or go to their website, concretechemistry.com. That's Eric Daly, of course. He is the president, and he will make sure that you've got some nice, shiny, resinous flooring in your place of business or your airplane hangar if you have one, whatever it may be. So it is Concrete Chemistry. The website is concretechemistry.com. And 713-497-4701. That is the phone number, Concrete Chemistry. Should we do another one?
Oh, yeah. Let's do Colonial Concepts.
Hey. Colonial Concepts and Designs by Michael. If you're in the Philly area and you want to make your kind of lousy-looking house look all shiny and new, look modern, improve it, well, Colonial Concepts and Designs by Michael. They do a great job, and you can afford it. They do jobs that a blue or white-collar family on a budget can afford. Floor and wall, kitchen and bath, cabinets and countertops, drywall and drywall repairs. They do it all, and they're a locally owned Delaware Valley business servicing the Philly area, South Jersey, and all the burbs in between. And I mean, you got to go check out their YouTube channel. It's just Colonial Concepts and Designs on YouTube. And when you check that bad boy out, you're going to see some really impressive before and after videos. So check them out. They're awesome. Colonial Concepts and Designs by Michael. And listen, they will transform your home, your kitchen, your bath. They do porches, decks, and they do it all. So check them out. And if you mention the Josh Ennis Show, 15% off your total labor cost just for supporting GIS. Check out their YouTube channel to see some awesome before and after videos. The number is 609-849-7558, 609-849-7558. It is Colonial Concepts and Designs by Michael. He's a great guy, and he has top shelf people working for him, so you can feel safe having them in your home. Colonial Concepts and Designs is 15% off your labor costs if you mention GIS. Now, I see some people in here posting that there's breaking baseball news. Let me see if I got that right. This is Sean Blair posted this.
Okay.
Let me see, Sean Blair. Let me scroll back up really quick and take a look at what you posted on here a second ago, if I can. My my monitor went out, my big TV, so it's kind of hard for me to read some of this stuff. MLB has decided to play a 60-game season if the union agrees to have their players report by July 1st. And they agree on the safety and health protocols in their operating manual. MLB wants a decision by 5 p.m. Tuesday.
Yep, that is accurate.
So there you go. Maybe, listen, you would assume at some point the players have to blink. They have to at some point.
I don't know if they're going to sign off on this health and safety protocol.
At this point,
Because that's basically saying we're not going to hold you guys responsible if we get the Rona. So
yeah. So I have very little hope that they're going to play baseball. And as we talked about, I don't really care.
they have to respond by 5 p.m. tomorrow.
And if they do, I mean, so that was their thing, right? They wanted 60 games. The players wanted 60 games. So if the players wanted 60 games, so they're conceding the 60 game part of it, but they want to start playing games by July 1st, or they want to
Report to camp by July 1st.
Okay.
Which is next Wednesday.
I just don't see how, in a matter of a week, you go from shutting down clubhouses and shutting down camps due to the Rona, and then a week later you're going to be like, well, everything's clean now and come on in. Not going to happen.
And also, the MLBPA voted against the 60 games earlier.
Yeah, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah, this just says Major League Baseball has asked the MLB Players Association if players can report to camp by July 1st and will sign off on health and safety protocols. Union has been asked to respond by 5 p.m. Tuesday. That's Jeff Passan.
Well, how about that? Not going to happen. I don't see them playing baseball, and I don't see me caring if they play baseball, and I don't see many people caring if they play baseball. That's just the way it's going to go for them now. They're at a point where most of the country does not care if they play ever again, especially this year. So congratulations. You continue to screw yourselves. Let's see here. Did you see the Sasha Banks news? What is the Sasha Banks news?
Some other...
She have the Rona or something?
No, I think some guy who's in, is it AEW? I don't know, some other wrestling show, like 4 years ago said that he would rape her or something, or wants to rape her because he thinks she's hot.
Oh, I see.
So that
that's
became
probably
a big thing.
not ideal.
So he got like suspended without pay, and then she had to issue a statement about it and stuff.
I see. Well, boy, they're canceling everybody, man. Like, it makes it scary to even try to get a job where you're working for a big company because everybody's canceling everybody. Now, some people I don't feel bad for. Like, Jimmy Kimmel's in a bad spot. Like, every day something new comes out about Jimmy Kimmel's outrageous old bits. The one today was that he did a rap song in which he was saying the N-word or something back in the 90s. Like,
but it really I don't see people caring that much about it. Like, it's not like
he's
Jimmy,
trending.
I haven't seen him trend.
I think cancel Jimmy Kimmel was trending not too long ago.
Oh, that's good because I haven't seen that.
He's trending with hashtag cancel Kimmel.
Okay.
And like, that's the thing is because he's had a couple big ones that have hit, right? So Kimmel, yesterday, the big thing was this video this interview with Megan Fox, where she says that she was sexualized at age 15, and he starts making jokes about it. So that's one that's got people ticked off. Then they're piling on him because of some N-word rap parody he did. He did some black voice in it. Here's the thing, man. I've always been a fan of Kimmel, and I feel weird like piling on people. The issue is guys like he and Stern and everybody that's gone so super woke and so judgmental and crying on TV about politicians and joining the kind of anti-Trump brigade and all that. What you've got now is it makes it really easy to pile on people like Kimmel. You end up coming across as a massive hypocrite, and it stinks because I hate to see it where we're going to dig up shit people were doing 15, 20, 25 years ago and bring them to an end. The positive for people like me is I've already been canceled a couple of times by the shit I've done. So, like, it's not like there's a secret, right? And the other thing, though, and here's where, like, the Sterns and these guys and the Kimmels really annoy me, though. Like, these guys went far more hardcore than I did. Like, mine was, the thing with Kelsey and then a picture of Al Jolson. The number of comedians that they keep posting pictures of that were legitimately in blackface themselves.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, dude. I wasn't doing that. I might have done some stupid bits and all that type of shit. But, like, I don't recall ever being in blackface. What's funny is I got canceled over posting a picture of Al Jolson, and these guys might survive being in actual blackface. The world's screwy, man.
Like I said, though, he's going to get credit, though, because he took himself off the air. Like, he's going to go reflect and educate himself, and then he'll be like a hero because he recognized that what he did was wrong, and, He'll remain holier than thou.
It annoys me too because I mean I've always liked Kimmel, just like I always liked Stern. But here in the last 4, 5, 6 years, everybody's become insufferable. All these comedians that used to push boundaries and were edgy and gross and everything, they've all tried to kind of escape into the safe arms of woke culture. And what's happened is what you'll learn is whether you side with woke culture or not, they'll turn on you. Like woke culture is not like there's not immunity.
Someone always finds something.
They will always come after you. They will always there is nobody that's safe. Like I saw George Lopez trending at 7:00 this morning. Apparently woke culture wants to cancel George Lopez because in one of his stand-ups many moons ago, and I remember seeing this, it wasn't that long ago, but I remember seeing the video that George Lopez said like the one rule in the Mexican household was that you don't date a black person, right? And then he kicked some woman out of the show and ripped her for being offended or whatever. So it was like cancel George Lopez, and like at some point the cancel culture is going to come over and get you. The thing I have going for me at least is I've been canceled multiple times. I don't know if there's double jeopardy in woke culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I can be tried for the same crime multiple times.
The problem that you'll have, I think, is that someone who doesn't know the Al Jolson thing, like, let's say you get hired in, like, a new city that's not Philadelphia or Houston. They don't know you. They don't know your background. The first thing they're going to do is Google it and be like, oh, my God, did you see what this guy did in 2016?
Correct.
And then it's going to start all over again.
The part that's going to infuriate me about that is, again, I'm not the one in blackface. I'm not the one who has said the N-word on the radio thousands of times like these guys have. Like, all I did was posted a picture of Al Jolson, who was just, it isn't me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really, and again, woke culture will kill anybody it can. They will eat their own. They don't give a shit. Woke culture does not give a shit. It will eat you. And they're not afraid, man. So, and it's weird, again, because, like, I hate being the guy that celebrates people getting fired. I've never been that person. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to celebrate when a guy loses his job over taking a bit a little too far. Like, I hate that. I think it's hypocritical. I think it's bad karma. Like, I think it's awful karma for someone like me who, says some kind of blue/edgy shit on the radio sometimes. I hate to be the guy that points a finger and says, that person should be fired, or to celebrate somebody getting fired.
Yeah.
Now, some of them make sense. The Rochester one, that was, okay, you're fucked on that one, Rochester people. You're morons, right? But, the Steve Gleason guy, the guy that did the bit where he was like they were doing like a fake phone call with Steve Gleason or whatever. I'm like, it was a bad bit. I wouldn't fire somebody, but I mean, I defend people for trying, but not every bit works, right? And when I see the number of people now, like we're digging up stuff 25, 30 years ago that people are doing to try to cancel them today. Like, how long do your past sins, how long does that punish you? Like, how long does that hang over you?
Well, if it's on Twitter, forever.
I mean, I'm shocked that woke culture hasn't found George Carlin, who did an entire bit about how, like, racial slurs are just words. I forgot which stand-up special it was for him.
Yeah, but he's dead, so they can't do anything to him.
Hell, woke culture doesn't know that he's dead. I mean, like, a lot of these newbies are probably don't give a shit that he's dead, Let me turn on the air, the fan. I got cocky because it was cold up here a second ago. Ah, boy. Let's see here. Let's be honest. These losers will never, ever, 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 ever be happy. Well, of course they won't. This is how this is their power. Their power is
They are happy when they're bitching.
Yes. They are bitching and they are canceling people, and that's what brings them joy. Unless there's a Carlin statue somewhere. Wouldn't that be something? They're like, nope, we're tearing down the George Carlin statue.
It's got to go.
But the thing is, guys like Kimmel and Stern and these guys have brought it on themselves by being full of shit. Stern has become full of shit. Kimmel has become full of shit. And you've gone with this angle, knowing that you have a dark past, and you're very judgmental now, considering your past. Being overly judgmental, probably not the smartest move, because they're going to dig up information on you. Who did I hear talking about this? About working for yourself and why it's basically, I was listening to Adam Carolla, like an old interview with Adam Carolla. It was him and the black guy from 40-Year-Old Virgin. I forgot the guy's name. But he's talking about how, like, he always felt that he was never actually going to get jobs. Like, you go to auditions, you can't get the jobs. So the only way to guarantee yourself a job is create your own job. And that's what Carolla did. Like, he and Kimmel created the Man Show, and then all that. But then Carolla was one of the OGs in the podcast game, and he's his own boss, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way to protect yourself is to be your own boss, create your own world. Because when you're in somebody else's sandbox, you can find yourself in a whole lot of trouble. It's really easy to get kicked out of somebody else's sandbox. But if you create the sandbox and it's your sandbox, it's a whole lot different. So now, granted, he also is very successful. He's written books. I ordered his new book, and I'm waiting for it to come in. But there's something very solid about that. There's something very true about that, to say that in your own sandbox, your world, you feel a lot safer. You don't have someone over your shoulder telling you what to do and what not to do. So Carolla's kind of got the right idea. So I find this story about Bubba Wallace and a noose. Something doesn't add up about this story.
Well, if you're going to compare him to Jussie Smollett, the internet already has, and they've already been called racist for comparing it. So
then that's fine. Then they can do that. But I am not, I don't work for the internet, and I will, explain my feeling on this.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't believe that Bubba Wallace had anything to do with this. All right, just to be clear.
So it's not totally Jussie Smollett.
No, but it's Smollett. Like, I think it's Smollett-like. And let me explain. So what you deal with here is very hot button issue in NASCAR right now, the Confederate flags and racism, et cetera, et cetera. Bubba Wallace has gotten some negative blowback from some rednecks who don't like that they've taken down the Confederate flag and all that stuff. I don't believe that Bubba Wallace has anything to do with this news. The story I read today said that he never even saw the news. It was somebody in his camp or his people found this and told him about it.
Gotcha.
From what I understand about NASCAR and the way these garages are set up, now it could be different, but I don't think some random jabroni carrying a noose just rolled into this NASCAR garage area and put a noose in this room. It's an inside job. Whether it's an inside job from someone who works for NASCAR or whether it's an inside job for someone that's part of the Bubba Wallace team, I don't know. But I just find it hard to believe that somehow, with all the security and all the cameras and everything we have, that a guy or gal, some random jabroni, just kind of rolls into a garage and puts a noose down and no one notices this person. Because keep in mind, there are no fans at these events, I don't think. So, like, they're fans.
Well, I don't think
so it'd stand out if some guy that nobody knew is just walking around with a noose.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that it's someone who works with NASCAR.
But the
that
question
doesn't make
is,
it okay.
Oh no, God, no, it's not. No, I want to be clear.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it is. Here's where my question comes. Was it somebody associated with Bubba Wallace who did this, and like as someone put it, Smollett adjacent? Is it one of these type of things to kind of perpetuate this idea? Like, I don't think that's impossible. Do I think that that's what happened? I won't say that. But it's somebody on the inside, and somebody did this. It was not just a random act of somebody. Like, I don't believe this was some hillbilly that was just like, hey, watch this. I don't believe that.
Well, no, obviously it's someone who had access.
Yes, and the question is, like, what motive would somebody who has access, what motive would there be to do this? Like,
maybe it was the guy that was all angry and said he was going to quit racing.
Okay, that guy isn't actually in NASCAR. He's in, like, Little League NASCAR, racing, like, trucks and shit.
Well, maybe there's another fellow that feels the same way and didn't tweet it.
Maybe, but I just can't imagine. And these guys are hillbillies and shit. I don't imagine they are that stupid. Because that's going to end your career if you get caught.
Right.
So, like, you have to really care that much. That's why, and someone says the news story is too convenient. It's kind of the same way when you heard the Smollett story and you're like, so you mean to tell me in the middle of Chicago,
well,
if
we get a description that says the only clue we have is they left their MAGA hat behind, then we'll know it's Jussie Smollett.
Yes.
But they haven't gone that extreme with it.
No, but like when you saw the Smollett story, right? It was guys were like MAGA this and, all like basically it was like a checklist of everything that if you were creating like fake racist character, it would be.
And anti-gay.
Yes. The noose is one of those things. That's like the symbolism of the noose is one of those kind of over the top kind of racist things. I don't know. I don't know this for a fact or anything. I might be dead wrong, but obviously it was on the inside.
Now, I did
Obviously.
see someone, I forget who it was, someone wrote on Facebook earlier, like, think about it. The number one talked about story today, NASCAR. There's no fans there. NASCAR knew planting this would get NASCAR talked about.
But see, okay. But here's what I would say. I don't think NASCAR, let's look at means.
Look at all the positive stories now.
Okay, you're
You've
right.
got him crying out
You
there,
got him
getting his
pushing the
tears
car.
out. All the drivers come together.
Yes, and I would agree that there is motive for them to do that, to build this world where NASCAR fights racism. There's also motive, if we're looking at that motive, we can also see the motive in someone in his team doing this because it builds up that, like, Bubba Wallace having a hard time in NASCAR. He's fighting the evil bigots, and he's going to come out of this on top fighting the bigots. So there's motive on both sides of those. I don't know where the motive exists for just random hillbilly going back there and doing it.
Or it could have been some guy that, loves his Confederate flag, works for the venue, and said, watch this, LOL.
Maybe, but if I had to rank the three possibilities from most to least likely, I would say the most likely, let's start with the least. The least likely is just a random dude. I would put that. It's not impossible.
Also,
I'd make that the least likely.
How do we not have surveillance cameras?
Oh, we might. Maybe there
watching
is.
these
I mean,
garages. There has to be video proof of this. It seems like something like that, there would definitely be security around or cameras or something.
No, I agree with that. But I mean, maybe they have looked at the camera footage already. They had the FBI involved in it.
Right.
So, I mean, they've gone to the big timers
we need
there.
to know. Tell us what we see.
But and I want to know, was this garage locked? Because if it was locked, the only people that would have access to it are people associated with Bubba Wallace.
Or the venue.
Yes, but when I think, to me,
there was a parade of Confederate flags driving around.
Yes,
and there
but I
was
don't know that
someone
those
who-
people were actually in the venue, or they were just outside being hillbilly dipshit.
So you don't know that a hillbilly dipshit doesn't work for the venue.
They very well could. It could have been the hillbilly from your show who said slavery existed to an extent. It could have been that person.
It could have.
It very well could have been that person. Now listen, I know it, and you're probably sitting there thinking that having this discussion is offensive or whatever. But again, if cops can't care, and detectives and people who are trying to solve a case can't care if it's going to be viewed as offensive or not, they have to find the answer. And given the history that we've seen, and given that we've seen people like Smollett, that sets a precedent for a fake hate crime. It happened with Tawana Brawley. It happened with Duke LaCrosse. It's not like these things haven't happened before, and especially with a heightened sense of racial tension that we have right now, I could see it happening. The least likely is a random guy, because you're right, there's 1,000 cameras. You're not going to get away with it, right? But let's say, I was talking to a guy that called the show today and claims that there aren't really cameras in the garages, but there are cameras everywhere else. So maybe there's no video of who actually put the thing there, but maybe there's video of somebody going in.
Right.
I don't know. I think we know who blamed for the noose. Yep, you guessed it, Frank Stallone. Let's see here. It was Danica Patrick. Boy, everybody's got their ideas of who's responsible for the noose. I don't know, it's just, and as someone put it earlier, it's very convenient. It's very convenient. And to your point about NASCAR wanting to have this moment, what are people saying all day? Oh, wow, what a powerful moment.
Mm-hmm.
What a moment. Oh, watch him push his car and he's crying. And you're not wrong. There's something very possible there. That kind of gives off that vibe, they wanted a world. Because here's what the story was about the race before that. That there was a banner that flew overhead, and the banner was a Confederate flag.
Yep.
And then outside, there's a bunch of hillbillies driving around with Confederate flags having a parade. What is the story now? NASCAR overcomes all of this and rallies behind Bubba Wallace.
For a powerful moment.
This was a setup. I don't
That's
know who
winning-
did it, but
that's-
it's a setup.
That's winning an ESPY next year.
Yes, and you know what? I'm telling you, I don't know who set it up, but this was a setup. This was not random. I don't believe. This feels like a setup, a 100% setup. Whether it was the Wallace people, whether it was somebody else inside NASCAR, nothing about this feels random. The timing, the symbolism of a noose, and you always got to look for means, motive, and opportunity. Who's got the means? Well, anybody can have a rope. There's the means. Motive. Let's say it's Bubba Wallace's people. The motive is the Confederate flag. They're trying to build his brand as a guy that's fighting injustice, right?
Mm-hmm.
They plant a noose in there and they say, look, he's still facing this and he's trying so hard for Black Lives Matter and everything. And this is what we're doing. This is bullshit. So there's your motive. What's the opportunity? You have access to his garage. You know, if you're part of his team, you have the access to the garage. What's the incentive for NASCAR? What's their means? Well, again, it's a rope. I mean, anybody can find a rope. What's the motive? The motive is to create an opportunity where racism still exists, but we're going to overcome this racism together, and NASCAR is going to rally behind him so people know that we don't stand with the Confederate flag and all the hillbillies and racists, right? What's the opportunity? Well, if it's somebody involved in NASCAR, anybody can have the opportunity. So those are the two most likely scenarios. I don't buy random acting.
I think it could have been a random, some 19-year-old jamoke-ass kid who thought it was funny. It was like a dare who works at the venue.
That's it. But again,
That wouldn't shock me.
That's a hell of a chance to take.
Wouldn't
you know what
shock
I'm saying?
me. I didn't say he was bright.
And I also don't believe that it's anybody that's a driver or anything like that. Because again, if you're caught doing that,
Yeah, I don't think it's any of the drivers.
it's
I think
over.
it's maybe some maintenance person or whatever other staff they have around, because they do have employees there working at the venue, right?
Oh yeah, I would think so.
Maybe someone was dared by their friends on a drunken podcast.
Yep. Yeah.
Who knows? People do dumb shit.
It's sad that we're in a world where we are questioning this because fake hate crimes happen so much, but that's kind of the proof that we're not as racist as people say we are. The demand for hate crimes far outweigh the supply.
The Smollett thing really didn't help
No.
anyone who was actually a victim of a hate crime.
And look at the incentive in creating a hate crime and then responding to it. You're gonna and that's the other thing is nobody questions. People just in the media and everything, they're so afraid to question these things, right? So if you were to go online today, let's say you are a writer or some sort of journalist, by nature, journalists are supposed to be kind of questioning, right? That's part of the nature of being a journalist
Right.
is you start to, speculate and you start to, you're skeptical. Journalists are skeptics by nature, right? Not one person's skeptical of this. It's oh my God, this is terrible. This is the worst thing ever. No one takes the time to ask, okay, what, who did it? Who is responsible? And again, it may not be Bubba Wallace's people. It may not be NASCAR. I believe it's one of those two. I don't believe it's random. But people don't even take the time to question. People just want to be the first to run to Twitter and say, this is terrible and this needs to stop. And nobody takes the time to go, yeah, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. Has anyone even seen the news? Did NASCAR just make the entire story up for PR? Allegedly, the people who have seen the news, or at least the ones I read about, are people in Bubba Wallace's camp, and he never saw the news himself. Marty Smith went on a whole rant about it on SportsCenter. Well, good for Marty Smith. That's that kind of shit-kicking looking guy with the weird spiky hair that's on that.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
The guy I really hate, which is most people on ESPN, but I really despise him. He's got a look of him that I don't like. But Josh, all social issues are solved when you hit send on tweets. No, you're not wrong there. You are not wrong. But you would think they got to be getting close to getting to the bottom of this, right? I mean, it should be, you would think, as simple as looking at footage of a camera. Because there's got to be tons of cameras. I don't know if there's one in there. I'm looking at the headline on ESPN. Wallace on show of support. The sport is changing. Okay. But, again, to your point, that's why there's incentive for NASCAR to fake it. Because then you get stories like this.
Yeah.
We're really changing because we came back together around
And to be fair, that wasn't my point. That was someone's status on Facebook. But I was like, okay, You're right.
Like there's some level of reality there. Like there is a, or at least
It's the most talked about thing today. It's the most talked about thing. The negative of I don't even know if people are trying to find who did it. I think now the narrative is just as you read is we're coming together. We're changing the sport. This is changing. And so now no one's even really concerned with finding who did it. Doesn't sound like he is.
It's an interesting.
Instead, it's just a positive spin now. It's a a nice story.
Boy, it's
turned a negative into like a positive, impactful moment.
Yep.
And everyone talking about today? NASCAR. There's more talk about NASCAR than there's baseball.
Correct. How did a picture of the noose, even if planted by Wallace and/or his crew for publicity, not end up on Twitter?
That.
Like, it's so bizarre. Like they've got it. And here's the thing. Even if it was, like, we're at a point where even if this was planted by someone and it's a fake, I don't know that NASCAR can step up and say it was a fake because that would be detrimental to them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they find out that it was a fake or they were someone was in on it.
Yeah.
Like, how, like you can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't step up and say that because, like, say it, they find that this sets you back because, like, this moment moves you forward, right? It's like, wow, they all came together and they pushed his car to the front of the line. And
that's why I'm saying I won't be surprised if we never really hear another word about this investigation.
We may not. I mean, they have to have the payoff. There has to be a payoff.
I think the payoff was today. The payoff was pushing the car and him having the tears in his eyes. That's the payoff.
Yeah, I mean, but we still need to know. I mean, we got to know the answer. I mean, there are inquiring minds like me and a lot of other people that would like to know,
I
like,
will
the
not
payoff.
be surprised if we never hear about this investigation again.
Guess we'll see. Now I'm really curious. Now I find myself really intrigued. Jilly, do I have to tell them about anybody else?
Yes. Harbor Classic Builders.
Harbor Classic Builders. Of course, that's our friend Gama, who we're supposed to be drinking beer with on Wednesday and eating steaks. Now, I see Sean Blair says since it's not a crime, it'll be swept under the rug. They're investigating it as a hate crime, I believe. I think I read that.
Yeah, but like I said, it won't shock me if we never hear about this investigation. When's the actual race?
It happened today.
Oh, did it?
Well, the race was yesterday, but I think it was rained out.
Mm.
So after it was rained out, they had to finish it today. He finished 14th in the bubble.
I see.
In case you were wondering. But Harbor Classic Builders, building quality homes for over 20 years, starting in 1999. From the foundation crew to the landscaper, they've assembled a great team that specializes in country estates to high-end luxury homes. Several homeowners have built multiple homes. So, I mean, they obviously have some real strong supporters of what they do. Several have built multiple homes, and they can help you out with everything, right? The architect, engineer, interior designer, construction loan. They'll put you in contact with their hand-picked experts who they've partnered with previously, and boom, they'll make some magic for you there. So they're great at what they do. Murphy Yates is the owner, and he's also a founding member of Operation Finally Home, which builds mortgage-free homes for wounded veterans throughout the country. They just celebrated their 100th home. So check out their Facebook, Harbor Classic Builders, HARBOUR, and give them a call, 281-960-3900. That's 281-960-3900. Check them out. They're awesome people. We love them. It is Harbor Classic Builders. And, hey, maybe come meet Gama. I mean, if we're really going out to drink beers on Wednesday, then Gama will be there, and you guys can meet old Gama.
We need to confirm this, because if that's one night I don't have to buy dinner for then when I go to the store tomorrow.
Well, I'll send him a message and see.
We'll have to buy a snack, because let's be real. I'll eat before 9 o'clock.
Yep.
Or I'll get cranky.
Bry Guy says that, Jilly, you could be on to something. Let's see here. I bet this investigation ends up like Epstein's cameras weren't working and the security guard was sleeping in a porta potty. Yeah, could be onto something there too. Could be onto something. Look at Dr. Greg. He just dropped 500 bits, pops in here and says, "I'm here to drop bits, biatches."
Thanks,
Thank
Dr.
you very
Greg.
much, Dr. Greg. So there's that. If you guys want to throw in some bits here before we get out of here, feel free. If you haven't ordered your shirt, then, you can get your shirts as well. Like when I tell people the number of shirts that we end up selling, which I think we've eclipsed 100.
That's pretty good.
It is. Like people are kind of amazed by this when I tell them because a lot of radio shows don't have that kind of pop. I mean, some obviously have more.
We need, I think I was saying this on Saturday, we need a good hashtag to use when you get your Jisn shirts. Like maybe we just do a 4th of July takeover.
Yeah.
Just
like the Koreans.
Jisn in the USA or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Jisn's kind of tough to spell.
Yeah.
Like I go with just J-I, like Jis Nation, like something like that.
We need a good hashtag. If you guys have any ideas.
Not a Fanboy bought his T-shirt tonight. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Make sure you guys keep doing that. That helps keep the podcast alive when you go out there and you purchase T-shirts.
They look really good, too.
I know. This thing's popping, man.
I don't want to be a pain in the ass, but I really want a white one.
Well, I will tell Shelby.
I would like to model the white one. Well, we can show both.
Yeah. Nick Wright was on the Dan Patrick show today talking about it.
About the T-shirts?
No, would that be something like, let me tell you about Jis Nation? No, no, he was probably talking about the NASCAR thing because my guess is he's not skeptical. And he's a guy that's really skeptical by nature. My guess is he has zero skepticism about this. Did they ever have, here's a question. Was there ever video of the racial slur that was spray painted on LeBron's house?
Oh, that sure did go away, huh?
Where was the video? Because this could be something similar. Like, did they ever find out who did it? Was there ever a picture of it?
I don't think there was. Come to think of it. Also, I recorded something that's airing on Sunday, some documentary about the decision.
Oh, because it's the anniversary of the
Yep,
decision?
It's 2 hours. It's on Sunday, so that could be interesting.
Nick's hair is fucking hilarious. It is. It's pretty amazing. We still didn't get to see Allie modeling the shirt, though. Well, she hasn't gotten hers yet. Let's see.
I'm really just still amazed at how people think mailing things works.
Yes, I snap my fingers and there it goes. Boy. Let's see here. As soon as I get mine, it's going on the gram. Well, thank you, Astro Dave. We did get our first tweet from somebody with this. We got our first tweet.
See whether there was an error message, and I wondered if it messed up your recording.
No, it's fine.
What's the error message? There's no error up there at the top. That means something's wrong.
No, well, it's fine. It's
okay.
working.
Good.
Let's see here. Let me see who the guy is. I'll give him some love here on the old Twitter doodle and on the old show here. Let's see. Let's see. Rocking my new Jis Nation shirt. That's Kenneth, KJK Tex, who is usually in here. I don't know if he's in here tonight or not.
And he's got a little puppy with him. He's cute.
He's a cute puppy. So thank you, buddy. I appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. We all need to buy T-shirts to get you the 97.5 ESPN desk. That becomes a daily topic about how I want a desk like that they have in the studio. Apparently their engineer built it. I just need to ask the engineer, hey, can you build me one of these?
You bored?
If you need some extra work, I will pay you to build me a desk. I really need it. Then I got to figure out how to get it home. Or I'll wait till I finally move. And then, then apparently they had an old desk that they just donated to the U of H. I'm like, what? Boy.
Also, if we're doing this meetup on Wednesday, remember to bring a mask, because evidently you have to wear one to walk in.
And I think you have to wear one to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're not drinking anything, you have to do it. So that kind of sucks.
They're going to if they're not going to shut down the whole thing, they're going to shut bars down, right? I'm thinking bars are going to be shut down again. Because the governor said today, the main issue is bars and clubs.
Yeah, well, to make people wear masks, I think will deter a lot of people. I was even thinking about that, we like to go eat on Saturdays,
Yeah.
And I'm like, because if you're not eating food, you have to wear a mask. So if we're just sitting there in the restaurant, I think we have to wear a mask.
See, I think you can take it off when you get to your table that is 6 feet apart from everyone
is it?
else.
Okay.
You have to wear the mask when you walk in. You have to wear the mask walking to your table, and you have to wear the mask if you get up to go to the bathroom. But if you're in your 6 feet, space, then I don't think you have to if you're eating.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you have to sit there and wait for your food with a mask on. I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Who even knows?
I don't know.
I know we have to wear a mask to just drop off Luther at daycare now.
Yeah. So.
Everywhere.
Yep. It's certainly a pain in the ass, but you know what? I don't mind wearing a mask. And if I don't feel like wearing a mask at a restaurant, I just won't go to the restaurant. And hopefully these things start trending down a little bit. The positive, and I see someone in here that says works at a large Houston hospital and we're going to run out of beds tonight. Obviously, there's been a huge spike. The good part is, if you're looking for a positive, the positive is that it seems like many of the people who are getting the Rona are people who are not being seriously impacted by the Rona. So that's a positive.
I think they reported 5 new deaths in the city of Houston today, but they were all, I think, 70 and above with pre-existing conditions.
Yes.
Not that it makes them dying any better,
No,
but
but I mean, like, that's...
you're not hearing of, like, a perfectly healthy 25-year-old just croaking from the Rona.
Yes. Most people aren't.
For the most part.
Now, and the way it seems like everybody's just going to get this. Like, if you look at some of these other cities
or
and
we've
states,
had it. Like, when did you go to the urgent care that one time and they were like, well, maybe it's an infection. Maybe it's like a respiratory infection. We don't know.
Yeah.
That was probably the Rona.
It could have been.
Because that was like what, in like January or something? February, before this whole thing really got going?
Yeah.
So for as far as we know, this respiratory infection you had was actually the Rona.
Could have been. And again, I'm not trying to make light of it, but like a lot of these other states that are bragging about their numbers being so low, as they start to open up, they are going to have more cases, right? You know what I'm saying? Like they're going to, the numbers are going to shoot up. The more they test, the numbers are going to shoot up. So that's just natural, and that's just going to happen. So you got to question whether or not
going to shoot
you either got to shut the whole damn thing down, or you just keep going kind of the route we're going, which I don't think has been awful. Hopefully, it levels out at some point. Doesn't keep rising. I think
what makes Texas worse is because it's higher than it's ever been before the shutdown, even.
Because it's more open than it was even then. You know what I'm saying? This person who says they work at the hospital, it's mostly older, but enough people who are under 50 to notice. I'm not fear-mongering. I'm simply saying to be careful.
Yeah.
I respect that. But the question then becomes, let's say, you get it down a little. Like, well, I guess I should ask this. So you're going to run out of beds. When you say beds, are we saying like ICU beds? What kind of beds are we talking about that you're going to potentially run out of? Everyone in PA here that I know had it said 2 to 3 day loss of taste and smell, cough that felt prickly in chest, and slight fever, all symptoms lasting 2 to 3 days and not severe. Again, like at some point, you just got to kind of roll with it and go, if this is what it's going to be, it's going to be. We can't shut down again. If we shut down again, there's a large loss of business and it's a whole lot of trouble. So be smart, wear a mask. If you go into the store, put on the mask.
And again, that's what the governor said today was like, the last resort is shutting down the state again.
Mm-hmm.
But he said primarily this seems to be because of bars and clubs.
Yes.
So it will not shock me if he just shuts down bars and clubs.
That's the problem, man.
Especially because they've got so many issues with, technically a bar is only supposed to be at 50%, I think.
Yes. And I think yesterday, I think that Little Woodrow's did a good job of it. Like we weren't sitting around anybody, you know, like they have certain tables that you can't sit at tables next to each other.
I do feel more comfortable because it's outdoors as well. Like I don't know that I would go to a bar like
Oh no, I wouldn't. I probably would not go into an indoor bar.
Yeah, I don't think I would do that.
Like pub or a corner bar.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't do that. But sitting outside, I don't mind, or going to a large restaurant like we've been doing. Like we've been to Texas Roadhouse a couple of times.
Yeah.
We've been to Walk-Ons a couple of times,
and both of those places have done really well spacing out tables too. Like you're not really around anybody.
Yes. And then we also went to Buffalo Grill once or twice. Been to some other places, and again, I'm all good for it. Because I don't think that we've been irresponsible. When we go to the store, we put on masks.
Mm-hmm.
This was the first time we've been to a bar in forever.
Yep.
And we were sitting outside at a table that wasn't near anybody really. So, just and here's where Abbott's not wrong, right? People don't like that he's been ripping on the young people, but a lot of it is young people going to bars. And they're just kind of disregarding the whole thing.
Well, 4th of July is going to be interesting because the city's still doing a fireworks display,
Mm-hmm.
but you're just supposed to watch it on TV.
Yeah,
People are going to go out.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Like, I bet you the Parkway here is going to be packed with people.
I would think so, yeah. We can shut down a gazillion times. The Rona is going to catch up to everyone if it hasn't already. I think I went through that in late November 2019, maybe so. And that's what I'm saying is if you shut down again, we're screwed. So you just got to be smart. If you don't have, just be smart. be smart about things, and we'll see where this thing takes us. But the reality is, the majority of people who are getting this are surviving, right? The survival rate is probably in the high 90s, 98, 99%. It's largely older people, and you don't want to say kill grandma and grandpa, and that sounds sensationalistic for the news to say that. But, like what we should have done from the jump, and maybe our friend in here that's works at a hospital could say whether this is fair or not. But if it's possible to shut down the whole country, then why wasn't it possible to shut down grandma and grandpa and say that you have a worse chance of getting it than everybody? You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Taking a look at some of the other comments in here. I'm not saying shut down. Well, I know, and I didn't say you were. So
would you
I didn't mean to
travel
intimate
anywhere
that.
right now? I mean, I know we're driving to Louisiana, but would you fly anywhere?
Yes,
You would?
I would.
Because I was kind of nervous about that too with our buddy Joe yesterday. I'm like, he's been traveling.
Yes.
You shook his hand.
I felt that I needed to, but then I washed my hands.
But I mean, see, like that's like the stuff that I'll think about. Like, okay, he's been traveling. Like,
Oh, I don't blame you. I don't blame you on that one, but I mean, I did shake his hand. I mean, what's more likely to kill me? Me shaking his hand, the fact I was sitting basically right
well,
next
that's
to
what
him
I'm
for
saying.
an hour
I was
having a
saying
conversation.
that too. Yeah, that too. I was
No, I
thinking
get
about
it.
that. Like,
I get it.
And I know they're like, I think Southwest is still not like, putting middle seats, like you're spacing out, still, but I don't know. So many germs. I mean, I get on an airplane, I get a cold like immediately.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't be afraid to fly. Like if I had to go somewhere, like if a radio station called me today and was like, we need you to come in for an interview.
Well, that's a different situation.
I-
That
but-
you'd almost
but,
have no
like-
choice.
Oh yeah, but I also wouldn't find myself in a spot where like I'd voluntarily fly anywhere right now. Probably not.
Yeah.
But I'd consider it. Because the other thing is, I don't know how many people are even on these planes. What if you're the only person on the plane?
There's a decent amount now. Like I've seen pictures. Like I think now, obviously, just to go through the airport, you have to wear a mask the whole time you're in the airport, and you have
Yeah.
to wear a mask on your whole flight.
My man, it says it best: mask up when in large groups, carry hand sanitizer, and wash your hands when possible. Bada bang, rock and roll, man. And don't shut anything down, and just see where we're going, man. You know what I might start watching tonight, and I just discovered it again by accident. But so WGN America just airs a bunch of shows about like cop shows. Now they air Cops. They air today. It was In the Heat of the Night, followed by Blue Bloods, followed by Last Man Standing. So I think we know who they're programming for on WGN America.
Sure do.
And I started watching the pilot episode of In the Heat of the Night with Carol O'Connor, and I was kind of into it. My grandma used to watch this. I'm kind of into it.
Then you found out all the seasons are on Amazon.
And they're free on Amazon, so I might start watching In the Heat of the Night.
We have to watch the finale of The Undertaker. We were too drunk to do it yesterday.
We do. That'll be later tonight. NBC is removing 30 Rock episodes of white characters in blackface in syndication. I don't even remember that in there. You know who else? Well, I know that they haven't done that for Always Sunny yet, because I saw one of the Lethal Weapon spoof episodes where he was in straight up all black.
And on Vice, how dare they?
I know.
They're the wokest channel there is.
Yep.
That and The Daily Show. Is it even considered comedy anymore?
No,
Every
God,
time,
no.
like, somehow we flip on the TV and it's
I
always
hate
on The
that
Daily
dude with a
Show.
passion.
Like, no matter what, we're like laying in bed and somehow The Daily Show is on.
I really dislike that guy. He annoys me. I don't think he's funny.
I don't think he's supposed to be funny now.
Well, like that's the thing is the show went from being satire, like parody of the
Yeah.
news, but that's all these shows. Late night comedy shows
They're
used
not
to be
funny.
comedy. They're not comedy anymore. They're basically doing the shows they were spoofing. They're now doing news shows. Somebody asked if it's crazy to think Charlotte Flair is hot. Yes, she's gross. Charlotte Flair is disgusting and disproportionate and gross, especially after she's been wrestling. Some of these chicks get hotter as they sweat. Like her face starts to melt off when she wrestles. She's gross.
Evidently, Louisiana is pausing their coronavirus reopening. They'll be staying in phase 2 for 28 more days.
Well, we'll be there soon. Let's see. It was iconic with Jon Stewart. Now it's just another show. Correct. And I'd even say late in the Jon Stewart run, it wasn't iconic anymore. Used to get 4 28-ounce Purell sanitizer through Subscribe, and now on Amazon, it's been sold out for months. Can't even find that Clorox. The Clorox wipes are hard to find. But I don't find that hand sanitizer is hard to find. Like every day
It's
that I go to
popping up
Walgreens,
now, yeah.
I might just go buy some tomorrow when I stop to get my water.
HEB has a big display of it too. Now it's not like the Purell brand, but
So what?
whatever.
I make my own. I just
well,
made another
evidently
whole.
there's 9 brands that are actually toxic.
Oh boy.
I forget where that story was, but yeah, there's some that are made with like methane, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, what I do is I bought the liquor basically, and I still have that, and then I mix it with aloe vera and I put it in little squeeze bottles.
It won't shock you. Evidently, there's been a bunch of outbreaks of the Rona tied to the Tigerland bars
That makes sense.
and graduation parties.
Josh thinks Charlotte Flair is gross, and I believe he also called Sable gross. Sable is gross. These are really like not impressive looking people with gigantic fake looking tits. So they don't do anything for me. So if that means I have bad taste, then I have bad taste, but these are not appealing women.
I do have to go watch Raw. Our boy Dolph is on Raw now.
How about that? Well, that's exciting. So anyway, then let me make sure I finish this party down here. There we go. All right, we will say goodbye to the podcast portion of this. All right. I just turned on Raw. It's pretty boring, says Trevor from the
It
203.
usually is, but it's something for me to do.
You also think Kat Dennings is gross, and she's a goddess. There's a lot. Trish Stratus is the hottest female wrestler. Trish Stratus was considerably hotter than Sable. Sable, just this skinny, flat-assed, fake-titted chick that had a rough face. Josh said Kat Dennings is gross. Gay status in question. Okay, whatever. That's fine with me, man. I just don't find her to be alluring. All right, anyway.